Hello, everyone, and we're back once again. We have Dr. Hardt, the founder, president, and coach, trainer of trainers for the Biocybernaut Institute, my idol here, for another Q&A. Dr. Hardt, so I have a question coming straight from our alumni group, an amazing group of people. They're alumni and graduates of the Biocybernaut training. And this one comes from Eric, and I'll read the question to you, Dr. Hardt, and we can address it as we go through. And he's saying, I'm hoping someone can help me understand the difference between an alpha spike during a space out and one brought on by more of a flow state, or what he's calling actual alpha. Can you help me understand the difference?
Very interesting question. We have to begin by dividing it into two parts. One, is there a difference? Because there may not be. And secondly, what possible differences might there be? Give you an example. I was training somebody. They were in the chamber doing their eyes open baseline. The door was open to the chamber. Lights were on. It was an eyes open baseline. And I'm monitoring the polygraph. And all of a sudden, normally, when lights are on, eyes are open, alpha is low. But all of a sudden, big bursts of alpha came, beautiful alpha, and they ran on for, I don't know, maybe 15, almost 20 seconds. And I yelled, "Spacing out!" And the guy in the chamber laughed. You know, he heard me. And so when the eyes open baseline was over, I went around to close the door, turn out the lights, and I said, "What happened?" And he goes, "Well, I left." I go, "What do you mean you left?" The brainwaves were continuous. He said, "Oh, well, my body was here, but my girlfriend was in Seattle, and I went and I was hanging out with my girlfriend." Now, I call that spacing out, but how do we know that for him it wasn't a flow state? Okay? Why do we distinguish between spacing out and flow states? Now, let's answer that question potentially hypothetically. Let's say you're doing some routine mundane task, and all of a sudden you space out and the alpha comes on, and I would submit that you are in a flow state at that time, doing cool and groovy things in your mind. Like this guy went to Seattle to hang out with his girlfriend. That was certainly a flow state for him.
Yeah.
And big, beautiful alpha on the polygraph, 15, maybe 20 seconds worth of it. And so there may not be a difference. Now, there are many ways that you can have different alpha. For example, you can have big amplitudes, you can have low amplitudes. You can have fast alpha, middle alpha, or slow alpha. And the alpha range is 8 to 13 cycles per second, but we typically measure 3 different ranges: fast, middle, and slow. And you can actually see in the polygraph that somebody will have a spindle of alpha, maybe at 8.5, and then the next spindle will be at 11.7. And so the alpha speeds up and slows down while, and not for everyone, but for some people, the frequency is very labile. Another factor that is important is the coherence. The occipitals, for most people, 80% of all people, humans, have their biggest alpha at the back of the head, left and right occipital, O1 and O2 in the International 1020 electrode placement system. And so, but they have most people, the occipitals are the least hemicoherent. They're like lone wolves. The left doesn't know what the right is doing, and the right goes off on its own regardless of what the left is doing. More so than other sides. The frontals are the most commonly producing alpha at the same time. The occipitals, the left will fire and then stop, and then the right will fire and stop. Sometimes they fire together, but the hemicoherence is, and we're not talking about, frequency identity and phase identity. We're simply talking about the co-simultaneity of the alpha occurrence on the left and the right side. And so there are many different parameters of alpha. So when you say, "Oh, I had alpha when I was spacing out. Oh, I had alpha when I was in a flow state." Well, how do those alphas differ? We have frequency, we have phase, we have amplitude, and we also have the hemicoherence between different sites. All of these can make a huge difference. But the simplest answer to the question is maybe a space out is simply going into a flow state that's more interesting than whatever routine or mundane task you're trying to accomplish in the moment.
Very interesting. As always, multiple possibilities.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, fascinating. Well, as always, Dr. Hardt, thank you so much. It's just, I always learn so much every time we do these Q&As. I appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Great question.
Hi, I'm Tony Robbins. Listen, if you are looking to improve your brain, your psyche, your ability, your emotions, your ability to really maximize your performance, and you want to really dig into your brain, my dear friend, Dr. Jim Hardt, and his Biocybernaut program is extraordinary. I've been through it myself. My wife Sage has, members of my family have, and we found it to be truly extraordinary. But it is not for the faint at heart. Unless you're dead serious about really taking things to the next level, don't bother. We went through the Alpha program designed to maximize your ability to create alpha waves. And it was challenging and it was incredibly rewarding. And I'd recommend it to anybody serious about improving the quality of their lives or including the quality of their family lives as well. So check out Cybernaut, check out Dr. Jim Hardt. And if you do, I think you'll be really, really pleased.
And the entire time you are learning to think and how you think these electrodes create sounds. And you learn how to put yourself in the zone of alpha. But it's a bitch. It's horrible. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody that wants easy experiences, but I'd recommend it to anybody that wants to grow immensely. And by the first day, I'm like, who do I got to shoot to get out of this thing? Oh, it's me. I'm the one that did this shit. Right? But by the end of the week, all three of us were able to go into this state of alpha. And if you're familiar with alpha, the best way I can describe alpha is there's no problem that can't be solved in alpha. Because every problem that we have was created by us.
Thank you for being here and absorbing this information about the science of brainwaves and about the stories of people whose lives have been beneficially altered, improved by doing brainwave training at Biocybernaut. And now I'm reaching out to you to invite you to come and be a part of the Biocybernaut adventure. Biocybernauts are to inner space what astronauts are to outer space. So come and adventure with us. And if you'd like to leave a comment on the videos, you can do that, or there's a link you can click if you'd like to learn more. We welcome you to Biocybernaut.